This conference will now be recorded.
Right, so we have seen from scratch how we do the replication between multiple nodes with security enabled with the help of key and all. So now we're going to see further issues wise and further configuration change wise and everything. So let me check it out. Mongo is running. It should run. I did not shut down the Mongo. But anyway, check. Mongo is running. So we know the username and all, right? Mongo. User, I guess Anita user was admin user what we created. The password Ravi at the rate 1234. Authentication database. Right. It is primary. Show DBs. It can be done. Let's do the same thing on other machines also. I'll copy paste it because user exists there by default. What happened? What are you saying? Could not connect to connection attempt failed socket exception connecting to. Is it so? Mongo is down. Good enough. I guess we stopped yesterday for routing discussion. Anyway, I'll start it. This is secondary. You cannot read databases also. You have to use rs.secondary. Okay, then it will let you to read. Anyway, let's start the Mongo here. To start the Mongo, I need to go with the Mongo or user we discussed yesterday, right? Mongo or what we have owned all the directories. Mongo D etc. Right. So now the same command, I'll hit it, I'll get the connection. Sorry, right? rs dot secondary. Okay. Right. Let's move with the. I have written all the steps, guys. Scenarios one by one. Let's go with it. User creation, database creation, and replica. So we have seen already database creation anyway. If I create a database in the primary, let's go with the CLS. So if you see the show DBs, we have a cloud and lab and SQL, three databases are user databases and CLS. Show DBs quickly. We did already. I quickly do it once again. So CLS. All our scenario-based discussions today. If I create a database on the primary, it will reflect on the secondary. Whatever you do exactly reflect on the secondaries as well. So if, for example, I'll try to create a use, what do we create? A test database, okay? And db dot insert, sorry, db dot l1 dot insert something. I just wanted to show that database quickly creates. We have seen yesterday as well. But anyway, show DBs, you will see that a test database here, and you see the test database here, right? And show DBs, you see this test database there. Use admin and show users. Right now, only Anita is there here, right? So let's check user as well. Use admin anywhere, everything will reflect it. There is no need to name, okay? So then we are under DB database, show users, Anita user is there, right? On the admin database. The same thing, use admin, show users. Now I'll create one user, okay? Here on the primary, db dot create user. Right, so we have already done this. I'm just creating one user, okay? Password. I'm just keeping the same password. No need to keep, but for simplicity, I'm just keeping it. Roles. We need to define the roles, right? Role maybe a read, okay, and DB admin, something wherever I wanted to create the database. I can do that. Maybe on the database name test, something like that. It got created. And if I see show users in the admin database, we are in the admin right now. Show users, you will find the user who grew in the admin, but role got in test. Now, if you see here also, previously only Anita user was there. Now the user will reflect here. Sorry, show users. See, you see the guru. I did not create here. I created in the primary. So just showing that everything will reflect. Not only the object, you just name it, it will there. There is nothing left behind in the replication. It is a server level technology. You cannot exclude certain database out of this replication. Everything is replicated. You don't have a choice to exclude these databases or only should be replicated. There is no choice of doing it. It's absolutely server level to server replication basically. So whatever you do, either you create a database, you create do what drop, adding the collection, adding the data, dropping the data, whatever it is absolutely identical copies in the background. And we have just seen creating database, creating user. In Mongo replication, we cannot exclude something to not to replicate. It will include all objects like databases, users, permissions, etc. Replication makes sure that all nodes are identical. This is something very important word. You don't have a choice to exclude something. It is something complete server level. And one more important thing you need to know is a key file. One key file we mentioned, when the security is enabled, then only key file is required. If you don't enable the security, you don't need a key file. You don't need to authenticate, right? So when security is enabled, the Mongo key file is important to internally to authenticate one to other, right? So we discussed that anyway. Key file is when security enabled, it must talk one to other, right? Internally, it has to authorize one to other using the key-based authentication. That is the reason key must be there, and the key must be owned by service account only. That also we have seen. I was trying to start. What was the error we got? We got this one. Permissions on the file is to open. This is the error we got it, right? So I made all the notes. What we need to discuss, what you need to know in the replication. I'll run through all of that. We already discussed few points, but still recalling it. Mongo key file must be owned by service account only. If not, MongoDB will not start and it will write the error in the log with a below message. This we have seen yesterday, and we changed the permissions from like giving the others, and group was having the read permission. That's where it was not starting. Then I went to the log file and was reading the log file. This is what it was displayed. Okay. Next, right. So now resizing the op log. Before we do talking about resizing the log, well, let's talk about the log or op log. This is a very big topic for us today. Why? Because a replication depend on completely op log. So how does it actually syncs the data? Let's see that. So this is the primary. We created one database, right? Just now, test basically. Now show collections. So whatever you single transaction, whatever you do the single modification, that will make the entry in the op log basically. Op log will hold all the transactions that you're doing till its capacity. I'll talk about the capacity at least 20 to 15 minutes on. We'll discuss on the op log only now because such an important thing you need to understand. Try to understand this. So before I do it, let's use the op log will sit in the local database actually, local database, and it will not create as long as you enable the replication. It is like it comes with the replication when you enable it. You don't need to configure. This is called op log RS. This is the one. This is where all transactions will load. Whatever you do on the replication, db.oplog.rs.find, and if you let's go with the pretty and count also. Let's go with the count. How many records we have? 2200 records we have. It will actually increase the record count every 5 seconds. Why? Because it does the polling. The polling also it will transfer. I got the status of this node. You keep it with this, like you're secondary, I'm primary because I'm holding the role. It will keep exchange the data every 5 seconds by default. See, 2200, 2201 to it is growing. We are not doing anything. Still it is growing. Why? What it is doing? It is pooling the nodes. I'm the primary, you keep stay as secondary only. Say stay secondary only. I have the ownership right now. I've formed already voting, I own it, and I'm working as a primary. You just stay as a secondary till I go down. It does internal communication based actually. When you have this one, you have the primary role on this one. It actually polls every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, and keep these are all secondaries. If this goes down, it does not poll. The poll will stop. When the poll will stop, this came to know, okay, I am not getting the poll means the primary is lost. So I have to form the election. And I get the voting, whoever is get the good voting, then they'll become the primary automatically. So that's how things will go on in the background. So it is verifying. It's not just primary means it's just not saying as primary forever. Depends availability of the machine. Every 5 seconds it is polling internally. Okay, I'm primary, you stay as secondary only because I'm owning it, I'm alive, I'm taking the data. It does all that. So that is the reason record count is still going. So if we read it basically, just one record will read it instead of everything. So better so that you get an idea. Count, let this take and keep it, I'll keep it find one to restrict the output. rs.find one won't work. Find one pretty won't work, I guess, because it will show the details in the pretty format itself. So it is going to record a timestamp when the action has been done, and it is going to record, what is the namespace, what is the database name, what is the collection name where you have done the operation, and what type of operation it is. Like it is insert, it is update, it's a selection, what it is exactly. It is going to write all of the details basically. So what I'll do quickly, I'll switch it to test database. Let's do it. Switch it to test database. db dot, okay, we have L1, right? Insert, I'm inserting, it's the second record in the L1, right? So it will record in, it will go into the op log. This op log will reflect in the secondaries, all secondaries. That also will see it. I'll show it. So if you understand this, you can understand a lot of troubleshooting in Mongo. Okay, this must be done. So I'm inserting one record. Okay, it is inserted, which will transfer to the secondary. It would have been applied to secondaries also. So let's let's go to the local database now. Okay, then read oplog.rs.find. Okay, when you read this find one, you get the format. Just to format sake, I'm reading it again. So you wanted the namespace. It has a lot of data in it. So if I don't filter it out, so it will load a lot of data like this, right? It is not loaded yet. IT. If you keep it IT, it will keep loading the data. Why? Because it is have a lot of information in it. Okay. So I don't want to do all of this. So I wanted to filter it out. What operation it is doing also it is writing basically. Okay. Now I'll filter the document, guys, so that you understand better. So it is coming with the namespace. So I'll go with the find itself, but I'll give the filter as ns. What is our ns is database name. It will record the when it is namespace, it will record the database name like this config database system sessions. And what we have done is uh, test database L1 collection. Let's see. Right, there are two records. Good enough. So you see this one. We did two transactions. One is first record, second is second record. You see this operation. It is I means insert where we have done the transaction and test L1. And here also the same thing. What record we entered in that command also will get recorded. What command you are running it. You are inserted S number only one. In the second record, you inserted S number, S name, S address. And if you read the same log in all the secondaries, the same data will be available because it will replicate using the op log only. So this is what you need to understand. Very important. It is syncing the data using the op log. Whatever the data entered into this op log is pushed it to this op log. From there, it is updating the data into the data file. That is how it is. So if you read this one, somehow I have to use local. So try to understand. You need to understand this is very, very important. See, data is actually right. So data is reflected in terms of transaction. See, each document, each entry, each change you're doing is you're making an entry in the log, this oplog.rs, and it is pushing that same data to secondaries, and the secondaries are getting synced up. That's how the data actually, sync up with the secondaries through the oplog only. You could see the transactions, right? So let me do the update. db dot use first test. Okay, test db dot l1 dot update. We know the data now. So I'm going to go update to second record. We have Karthik. Instead of that, I'll make it. Before I read, let me read it just for simplicity. Okay, this is the data we have. db dot l1 dot update. It records every single event, guys. Just I'm trying to make you understand this. Okay, it's number two, and here. So now what I wanted to set. I'm setting something. It's an update statement, right? So s name to I wanted to change it to maybe like Konda. If I do this, it is an update. It is an update. Now use local. Okay. Now run the same command. This command which I ran before. Where this one. If you see, there is an update. Operation is update. Before it was insert. Now it is an update. Okay. What you updated basically the S name you updated. It is recording the command as well. What you are trying to do. It is recording the command. It is recording everything. See, there were two records before, three records. The same two records will you'll see in the secondary oplog also. See. So example, I'll ask a question here. If oplog on the primary is 800 MB, will it be 800 MB on secondaries also? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, obviously. It is absolute replica. It is just pushing whatever it is coming into the primary oplog. It is just sending all of its the content oplog to oplog. Through oplog only, transactions are moving and applying to the secondaries. We are reading it. We are seeing it actually. We see this is evident. You need to understand. There is nothing I can do other than this. This is the only thing I can show that this is data is flowing out to the secondary through oplog to oplog because we are reading the oplog here, here, and here. Everywhere the oplog data is same. It is syncing through oplog to oplog. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Say some. So transactions always go through the oplog, and this oplog is server level. It's not database level. And whatever the database you do, all database transactions will load it into oplog, one oplog. And what is the capacity of the oplog by default that we already discussed? Let's talk about that. So rs.help. What are the commands we have in the replication? These are the commands available. I'll explain every single command what we have. These are all related to admin only, no developer, because this technology behind the scene technology. So now there are two commands we have: print replication info and print slave replication info. Secondary info. Why it is saying secondary? Where is the print slave replication info? It is gone or what? Print replication info is here. Anyway, let's do that. rs dot print, okay, replication info. If I run this in, it is going to tell you what is your oplog size on the primary server. On the primary means I am on the primary right now. That is why I am saying primary. And this oplog size, how many hours of data it can hold based on the transactions are going on at the moment. 23 hours data it can hold. If you are doing more frequent transactions, more data you are inserting, this time will come down automatically. It will change time to time based on the transaction ratio, the current size and rate of transaction. Based on that, then how many transactions are how long the transaction can hold in the log file, because it's capped by default. If you see this oplog, whatever is there in the oplog, where I am right now, local, right? rs dot db dot rs dot oplog.rs dot stats. Let's check the collection stats. By default, it is a capped collection. We can even see the E is capped also, that will tell us. If you see capped, it is a capped collection. What is the capacity of this one? The capacity is 990. By default 990. I was talking about that yesterday. If you don't have sufficient space, minimum oplog size is 990 MB. You see this 990 MB, but how much space we have in data drive in each machine? Basically only 6 GB. 6 GB of 5%, how much it is? 300 MB roughly. So 300 MB, it does not follow in the 300 MB, 990 MB by default. Why? The minimum log file minimum comes with the 990 MB. It's mandatory. It's mandatory. Maximum is 50 GB. If you have 1 TB data directory, it will go up to 50 GB. If you have 2 GB also, 2 TB also, it does not go beyond to 50 GB. The maximum collection size it can grow up to, upper bound and the lower bound. This is a minimum, this is a maximum. We cannot move out of upper bound. It is a maximum. 50 GB oplog is too much anyway. Basically, is a too much. Why? Because 50 GB is not small thing. It is just text data, right? So that is more than enough. So example, this oplog size is not serving the purpose for you. Example, if you have 10 GB, maybe 100 GB data, 100 GB, 5%, 5 GB log file, oplog size. 5 GB is not serving the purpose. You wanted little more. If you wanted, you can change it of fluxes if you wanted. Why? Because this is such an important thing. If secondary is gone for a certain time, maybe 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours down, and the oplog data is already cleaned up, secondary won't sync up. If it is not syncing up, you have to sync it manually. The manual sync will take time based on the data set you have. We're going to see how we can resync if the replica set goes out of sync. We'll see all of that. So anyway, try to understand. Oplog size is by default 990 MB, and it is following that because 6 GB is not giving the 990 MB basically. So one more thing you need to understand, it is a configured value. It's not occupied at the moment. What is it is occupied? It is occupied is this is the value it is occupied. This is actual max size, which is equivalent to 990 MB. This is a bytes. Let's calculate if you wanted to see that. This is the value, right? This is the value it is giving. So it is in bytes divided by 1024. Okay, it is in kbs divided by 1024. It's in MB. See, 990 MB. It is exactly the equivalent to this value. This value is equivalent to 990 MB. 990 MB is a size. It's a maximum capacity of the oblog. It is not occupied 990 MB. It will occupy if the data comes in, but actual storage at the moment, what it is occupied, this is the storage it is occupied. 118 kbs, not mbs, kbs it is occupied total. Actual storage at the moment it is occupied. Total 2269 documents we have. Object size is 111 kb for each document. Total, this is the storage, the collection occupied at the moment physically. Physically on the hard disk, 118 kb is itself out of 990 MB. Okay, so this is something you need to understand in detail, right? This is something, if you see oplog, see when this was sent to the secondary, now oplog event time, when it was happened, when it is sent to the secondaries. So it is going to write the data which secondary is behind. Example, when the last event occurred on this one, when the secondary picked up the data, it is just giving the details here basically. Today is a Thursday, right? Thursday. Op log first event when the replication is started, this is the day. Wednesday, yesterday, this is the time. And this is first op log started time. This is op log last event, the latest update today, 3 at 7:24 when I was reading it. And if I go and read the same rs.print replication info, this will tell you how secondaries are syncing with the primary. If you see this one, 7:30, it got the new update, and it is synced up with the secondaries, all the new update. This is what it is saying basically. These values are, this time zone is in IST. It is mentioned. So now there is something called rs dot print slave replication info. See why it is not showing up here. It should be there. It is not there. But this is very, very important. Okay, this is what is saying. Deprecated may be removed in the next major release. Please use the print secondary replication. Okay, anyway, fine. It is doing the job. Okay. Uh, if you run the same thing, this will also give you the same thing. If they replace something, that also should work in the same output. There is no difference. If you see here and here, there is no difference. They only change the command, but output is same. Command is changed, but output is same. Either you use print slave replication info or print secondary replication info. Both are same. There is no difference. Right. If you see, this is the primary. This is the secondary. It is saying that at the moment. And how many seconds ago it is behind primary at the moment? How many seconds it is behind the secondary? 0 seconds. It is taking all the data. This will tell you what is the latency in replication. If someone is asking you, how do you identify the latency in replication? I'll go and read slave replication info, print slave replication info, or print secondary replication info. Both are this is a new command. This is a new command, but I always use this command because like I got the habit of using this command, print slave replication info. Anyway, it is still working, but anyway, you use in the higher version, try to use print secondary replication info. Command wise, you know, the functionality wise, both are same. Only the names are different, nothing else. So now these two commands are very, very important to monitor in the replication. Print replication info. It is giving the print replication. It is giving the oplog size and how many hours of data it is holding, right? This is something important for all the time for us. And this is giving, is the secondaries are really in sync or not? Absolutely 0 second behind the primary, which means all data is synced up. This is saying that all data is synced up. No data is no data is behind. It send all the data kind of. Okay. This you must aware about the oplog, and oplog last thing is about changing the oplog size. That is all about oplog. Nothing else we can talk about. So now I wanted to see this only the oplog value we will give in MBs. All other values are goes in the KBs actually in Mongo, except oplog. Whenever you mention the size, all are in KBs only, except the oplog size. Oplog size goes in MB. Okay. I wanted to change the oplog size from 990 MB to 2000 MB. I can straight away do it. Nothing you can you have to do restart and all. You just go to the primary, and if I run this, enter this, it is done. If I go and see that print replication info, oplog size is to 2000 MB right now. Before 990 MB, where it was, we were reading, see 990 MB. Now it is turned into 2000 MB. It is on the fly. On the fly, you can change it. If your oplog is flushing the data and secondaries are going out of sync and you have to do the manual resync, you have to check that option. And if it is frequently going, secondaries are out of sync because of secondaries are not taking the data on time, or they are going down sometime, and then before it comes, oplog data gone, it is not syncing at all. Then you have to increase the window. You have to increase the size. A window means size basically. If you increase the size, the window will increase. So it takes some time. The 23 hours will become 2 days also in certain time. It will take some time to detect that. It won't see. If you see 2.24 hours, 2.25 hours, it is started increasing slowly. It will increase. It takes a lot of time to increase that value. So 24, 25, 26, it will go to 2 days also, because based on the transaction ratio is less. When the ratio is less, the timer will the oplog window will increase. It is like that. So the one thing in Mongo won't replicate is oplog size. If you do on the primary, it does not reflect on the secondaries. All other everything you name it, it will happen, but only thing will not happen in the Mongo is oplog size. Oplog size will not reflect on the secondaries. Print replication info. If you see, it is 990 MB only. Here also 990 MB, but we changed it. It won't change. That is a problem here. Print replication info. It won't change. But do I have to change in secondary also if I change it here? What do you think?
Yes,
Why? Actually, yes, it's correct, but why?
because if data over here on the primary oplog is say if crosses about 900 MB, then
Hmm.
there is no space on secondary to transfer those information.
See, as long it is a primary, secondaries are 990 MB, it is fine. Why? Because as soon as it receives the data, it will apply to data file. It does not wait. Only it has to keep on the primary because it has to send to the secondaries. Secondary oplog is fine, even if it is low. But secondaries also, we should change it. Why? Because replication is auto failover concept. It does not follow manual auto failure. When it is failed over to this one, how come it will hold the data again? It is going to 990 MB only. That is the reason we had to change it. Why? Because it is example, this is going to be primary forever. These two are going to be secondary forever. You don't need to change the log block size at all. There is no need. Why? Because if it is reaching secondary, it does not wait for to apply to data file. Instantly it will happen. So 990 MB is enough basically. But if the primary is 2000 MB, but secondaries are there is a chance of failovers. When the failover happens, here it is operating with 990 MB. So 990 MB again it will start flushing the data and secondaries will go out of sync. That is the reason you had to match the oplog size in all the servers. All the servers, we must match it. If you are changing it, change it in all servers. If you are not changing, don't change it. As simple as it is. So you must deal within all servers. Okay, clear? Yes or no?
Yes,
So everyone follow this. It's very, very important information I'm sharing today. Because if you are working in this technology as the SME, you need to know all of this. Most of the people don't know who work in the real time, but there are like there are things you can control it efficiently when you know things. That's how these are all. So op lock size, we can change it. It's not something you take the call all the time. You need to look at the situation. Sometimes your secondary replicas are going out of sync too frequently, then change the window. Change the window means change the size. Size will change the window automatically. What is the window? We'll call this a maintenance window. This is called as a maintenance window. Why? This time, during these many hours, you can shut down the secondaries and do the activities if you wanted. Primary is still up. If I want to do on the secondary, I'll do rs dot step down. I'll do the activity on this, and the other primary is taking care of. So these many hours you are keeping the secondaries down. There is no issue with the Mongo, because whenever it comes online, it will take all the pending data automatically. You don't need to do anything. Absolutely, you don't need to do anything. Let me shut down one Mongo and then do it and then start up. Okay, use admin. Let's do it. I don't say anything. If I say something, I talk about in the practical. That's my all technologies, all classes, whatever the technology I take it, everything goes in the practical oriented. That's what I focus. So now let's do the shutdown. Okay, let's shut it down, right? So now there is no Mongo. We can verify it also. Whenever full the log op log, what happened? It will flushes. It is capped collection, right? It will expire the data. We have seen what is capped collection. When I was reading this, I was saying that capped. What does capped mean? Capped means it can grow up to 990 MB only. Then if it fills 990 MB, it will flushes the data afterwards, whatever it comes. The old data will be flushed. By default, it is capped. You cannot create a block. You don't create. It is by default create, and that is by default capped. Whatever the size is given, that is the maximum. That's it. There is no full case. Like always flush the data. If it is full, the old data will be flushed. New data will be taken. I mean, taken means inserted. Is that clear? Okay.
Ravi, can you please repeat it one more time?
Oh, okay. So what he's asking is, what happens if the uplog file, offlog, collection becomes full? What happens? It's a capped collection. It will release the data automatically. The new data is coming, and already you exhausted with the current size of the log file. You exhausted with the current log file size. Then what happens? Old data will be flushed. New data will be taken.
Okay.
It's capped. We discussed what is capped, how it is behave the capped. We have seen, right? I've taken the less data, like number of records. We have taken size and number. If you guys remember, I discussed twice actually on that same concept. Capped kind of capped and TTL index together. I discussed. TTL work on the time-based, flushing the data. This will work on the size or number of records. Two things it will follow. Either first size or next number of records. You can keep it. So it will flush the data. It does not. There is no fill. It is no. There, you given 200 MB, 200 MB fill. What happens? There is nothing can happen. The old data will be flushed. The new data will be taken in place of it. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Right. So now, how do we get the resize the log file? That's good. You're not seeing the class then. You're asking the question. That means, how do we get the resize upload? I just talking about this, Guru. You're not following out. So this is thing. I was just talking about the resizing the log file only just now. Where it is? I ran the execution command. This is the one. See, admin command offlog resize 1 to 1000 MB, and this got changed. Resizing offlog size. Maybe your connection lost. I'm not sure. We just talked about it. Resizing the offlog if it is not holding enough data. You want it to increase the size, you change it. You have to run this command. That's it. I mentioned this in the document. I'm going to send it anyway. Okay. Then manual failover we'll see, but let's see how Mongo will take the data gap. If it is down, we made shut down one server intentionally. Server, this is a server. It is down. We don't have Mongo right now here. See? So now I'll go and insert some data. Where in the test quickly. db dot l1, right? Insert something. Intentionally, I'm just loading more records. Right, we got a good amount of data. This data is not into this Linux 02 server yet. Why? Because it is down. Right? These many records are there. The same records will exist on the server also. Why? Because it is online. It is picked up already changes. But other one is not online. It got the data. But this is not online. It is not taken the data yet. But let's start it. We have the session now also here, right? So now I'm starting the Mongo. As soon as it started, it will pick up the data. So anyway, I have to use another credential rs dot secondary. Okay, took. Okay, then only you can read it and use a test db dot l1 dot find. You will see, you would have seen it would have synced up. See, This data I just entered when it is down. Whenever it came online, it picked up the gap data automatically. This is called your maintenance window. Maintenance window means how long the oplog is keeping the data. That is called maintenance window. We'll call it as a maintenance window. This window is growing slowly because we change the size now. So now, even if secondary goes down for 20 hours also, it will pick up the data automatically when it comes online. If secondary goes down for more than 24 hours, data gap came. If data gap came, it won't sync anymore. Not syncing, it will write here print slave replication info or rs.print secondary replication info. Both are same, right? Secondary replication info. What was that? Print, right? Print secondary, right? Print secondary replication info. It will tell that this particular secondary is not syncing. Basically particular secondary is not syncing, it will write the details of it. Okay, so this is something which will give us what is syncing, what is not syncing. If something wrong with secondary, it will tell that this is completely behind the primary, it's not taking the data. This will tell you the health of the replication secondaries, whether they are syncing all the data or not at the moment. See, this is a Linux 03. This Linux 01 is one secondary. Linux 02 another secondary. They are 0 seconds behind the primary. So which means all the data is given. Let's shut it off this again to show that better. Hmm. Let's
Is
talk
there
about
any way to get notification if one of the secondary is not syncing?
notification. You need to have the tools. In the Mongo, you don't have logic to do that. Notification is a mail, right? Mail notification, external action that comes through the tools, monitoring
Hmm.
tools.
Like not creating jobs like SQL, you cannot create any alert jobs.
No such thing here. You don't have
Mhm.
that level of sophistication with this product. So now if you see this, see it started these many seconds, it is behind the primary. Which one? 2. Why? It is down. It will tell you that. It will tell you this is wrong information. With these many hours it is saying, but it's not correct. But anyway, it is not syncing. It is saying that this got synced, but not this. By looking at these values only, we understand, okay, this second is not taking the data. What happened? What it is, why it is not taking the data? Will investigate that direction. If it is down, we'll make it online. If it is still not taking the data, it went out of sync. Out of sync, why it went also, it will write in the log file. Data mismatching, something it will write. Then you find resync the data. How do we resync? We will see it anyway. But is it clear? If the sync is going or not, it is tracing it out. Which one? Print say secondary replication info, telling that if any secondary is down for some reason, if it is not taking the data, it is giving us information. You have the information. So now as soon as it comes online, it detects that node and tell that data started moving it on. See, the timer is gone, 0 seconds behind the primary, 0 seconds behind the primary. This will tell us which secondaries are not taking the data and why we will investigate further. Anyway, you need to know which secondary is not taking the data from the primary. Right, this is you need to know. About the oplog, we talked about oplog, we talked about the monitoring of replication with the help of the print replication info. What is the window it is holding the data, how many hours it is holding the data. Print again quickly, replication info, these many hours it is holding the data. This is a oplog size. And print secondary replication info, it is telling that both the secondaries are absolutely in sync. If it is not in sync, it is writing the timer like this. Okay, so you get to know from there. And let's talk about further. So we talked about this oplog is over. If you have any question, let me know. Manual failover. For some reason, you wanted to do the failovers. Why? Because I wanted to do the activity on this machine. I should not keep it as a primary. When I'm doing it, I should not shut down abruptly, right? So I gracefully do the failover, rs dot step down. Okay, I'm saying changing the role. So this is how you do it. Okay, it become the secondary. It was the primary, it has become the secondary. Whichever get the voting more, that will become the primary. Okay, the secondary means this is primary. See, it got the primary role like this. Like this, you have the option to do the manual failover. Why? Because I wanted to do some activity on this one. Which one? On this one. It becomes secondary. You can do anything because primary is here. The applications are not seeing any downtime. These guys can work on these two servers at the moment. As long as the uplog window is good enough, you can take down the time on the secondaries. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right, good enough. So I'll talk about one situation. Everything is situation, what I mentioned here, okay? Just try to follow closely because I'm going to send this notepad. So here, this is right. This is the primary, current primary. This is a secondary, and this is secondary. If I do step down or if it is this shut down, which one will become primary? Do we have any idea? No, we don't have an idea. Which one is going to become a primary? As DBA, we cannot say based on some metric. Only system knows it. Based on the recent data, based on the next hop, it will pick up. But which has the recent data, you don't know. Basically, in the microseconds, it will validate whatsoever it does. But you wanted to make, like this VM1, this is a VM2, this is a VM3 as you may case. But I wanted this to be become primary only, not this one. I wanted it. It is my intention. Then you can do it. This is a primary. It is online only. You're doing the step down. This should become the primary, not this one. I wanted to define it. Define means I wanted to control that failover. See guys, for certain reasons, we do this when these two servers are in the local data center, this is in the remote data center. If you trigger the failover, sometimes the failover can go to remote data center machine also. If it is not a delayed replica, if it is not priority zero replica, if it is equivalent priority, if it has, there is a chances of failover into the remote region also. It can happen, and generally you should not keep the priority to one to this one. It should be zero so that it never become primary. Though it will audit, but it will not become primary. But if you have that configuration, this also can become primary. You can freeze this. Case can be anything, guys. Situational. I have three nodes, one primary, two secondaries, but I wanted one of the particular secondary to become primary. That's what why you wanted it. So then you can control it. How do you control it? There is a command I mentioned, freeze, rs.freeze. So what I'm going to say, this is a primary. I don't want this to become a primary. I don't want. I'll freeze this node. Freeze means don't take the updates, don't apply, don't be or go outdated with the data this long, so that you never become a primary. Freeze. Freeze means it will not take the changes to the data file. So freeze example 120 seconds. This is in seconds basically, 60 seconds as my guess. If I enter this freeze, freeze is happened. Now you see the rs dot print secondary rs dot print. What happened? Slave. Why it is not coming? Rs dot print.
Secondary.
Right. If you see, it is saying that it is still okay, 0 seconds, but in the background, it does not apply the data to the data file for these many seconds. If I do the step down from this one, rs dot step down, which will become a primary? This will itself will become a primary for sure. Why? This data file is not going to update next 60 seconds. Data file does not update with the uplog. We're telling to the system, freeze with the updates from the primary, whatever you are receiving it for next 60 seconds. If it is freezing, it will go outdated. Outdated means some data gap is there, kind of it will feel. It is not there. You are intentionally doing it. Intentionally in the background, data will not update for next 60 seconds from the uplog of this server, and it will go outdated. If it goes outdated, it never become a primary. Data, recent data, wherever it is there it will apply there it will take the role. So if this freeze would have been gone, 50 seconds it would have been gone, it will pass 60 seconds, it will go away. Now next you don't see it again, you have to run the freeze again. It won't be there forever. You're freezing for only 60 seconds. 60 seconds are over, freeze will be released automatically. Is it clear? Say something. It's very, very important. It is intentional failover, and you wanted to move the replication role to primary role to particular node. So when you're moving it wherever you don't want the failover, there go and freeze it and do the failover. It will go to respective where you want it to failover. Is it clear? See, I have written the statement here. This command will freeze the current secondary node to not to get updated from the current primary till next 120 seconds. 120 seconds. This node will not eligible to become a primary within next 120 seconds. It is intentional activity. You're freezing the node to not to become the primary. Say
So
something.
in case if you have more than 3 nodes, say for example, if you have 5 nodes, so you have to freeze
Freeze
the multiple.
multiple nodes.
Okay.
That's it. Wherever you don't want, you freeze it. That should not become a primary during that time. That's correct. If you have one more node also, and out of these three secondaries, only this one should become primary, and you have to freeze on both of this. Then only it will become primary. Again, probability come. This can become primary. This also can become primary if you don't freeze this.
Good.
Clear? Right. Let's move then. Right. So delayed replica, hidden replica, priority zero replica. Basically, it's not hidden. Priority zero replica means it never become a primary. How you change it? How you do it? Basically, how do we connect to primary? Let's pick up this as a separate discussion under this scenario in the sequence. Let's go in the sequence. Resyncing replica, data center migration. Then I'll keep this. This will go in the order properly. Then delayed replica, excellent. Then arbiter node, excellent. This will apply there in the sequence if you look at. Right, if this is gone, see applications, how do they connect? See, it is keep failoring in the background. It's keep failoring in the background. How do the applications can connect? Like primary role is changing every time they have to change the physical node name? No, they have something called URI. We'll call it a URI, this thing. How do we connect to primary? Always, irrespective of whichever is the primary, you must follow this convention. Okay. If it's security enabled, you have to give this one. So MongoDB / all the replica node name and its associated port. So here it is 27, not 28. So everywhere 27. Okay, Linux 01 also 27. All nodes you have to mention. Mongo is a shell you are calling. MongoDB server you are calling. What MongoDB server you are calling? All in the group. So Linux 02 27017, Linux 03 270, Linux 01, all servers we mentioned in the connection string. And replication set cars. Username here Anita for us, right? Anita has the full admin rights. And the password is this, and everything is correct. If I connect to using this one from this machine, remote machine, which machine will connect to? Whichever is the primary. What is the primary right now? This is the primary, Linux 02. So if I hit it, it will make a connection to primary by default. So even see this connection by default, this is a connection string for talking to the primary only all the time. This is the name they use in the connection string in the application. So in the background, whatever becomes primary, it will directly go to primary only, irrespective of the, see if I see db dot, let's see, server status and host. Okay, if I do this, which is the server, it is giving the response. Which server is giving the response? Linux 02. This is a primary. Let's step down. Then this is secondary. Which is the primary right now? This is secondary itself. This is the primary. Now, which one will give the response now? Tell me. Which one will give the response? Linux 01. So I'll come out of this again. I'm giving this connection string, not the above connection string. Always will hit the primary only. Wherever the primary, you are mentioning all of these servers, it will go and hit the primary only if you follow that connection string. Following or not following? Say something. Guys, why you guys so silent? Just respond to me. It is clear or not clear?
Yes, Ravi.
You guys are so silent. Okay, thank you. Anyway, so if you understood, understood. That's what I need. Because if you don't understand, I don't move ahead. So guys, how do we connect to primary? Always irrespective of whichever is the primary node in the background. Okay, this is what people don't know. A lot of people don't know. They work on the Mongo, but they don't know how to make a connection to always primary. A lot of people don't know. Seriously, this is how they do connect to. They have to apply this thing in the application so that you no need to give the primary node all the time. They can't. Initially even I struggled. I lately, I mean, 2 years in the beginning when we started, we used to give the physical node. Whenever failure happens, we used to give the physical node to make the connection. They used to map it. That was a headache. We were not knowing this. Lately we realized anyway. So this is very, very good information you need to know. Resyncing the outdated replica. Seems I am only responding. I wanted to give chance to others. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, yeah, if you're following others also, yeah, thanks for the response, Ben. So all should just give me yes or no, that so that so that will give me confidence that you are understanding it, so that I can comfortably move ahead. Next, resyncing the outdated replica. Okay, so what happens basically? I intentionally create the situation. Don't do it in a live, but I intentionally creating situation. This is the secondary. This is also secondary. This is a primary. So replica, one of the replica goes out of sync. Why it will go out of sync basically? If secondary is down and oplog window is exceeded already. Window exceeded, data gap came, and it will never sync till it fill the gap. And that is one case. The replicas, one of the replica can go outdated or out of sync. It will go out of sync because the offlog window is exceeded. Secondary did not come online within the window. It will not take the data anymore. You have to resync. That is one case. Second case is corruption. Secondary offlog, some data is corrupted. It is not picking it. Something happened with it. So let's do it whatsoever. So I'll shut down the Mongo first on this one. db dot. I'm going to corrupt the data here. db dot admin shut down server. Okay, right. There is no Mongo here. Intentionally I stopped it. So you don't. There is no Mongo right now. Now what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete some data intentionally. Don't do this, but just only for the R&D purpose I'm doing it. These are the collections we have all together. Uh, let me delete some data. Valid data. Sorry, I don't own it, so I'll use sudo. Just I wanted to corrupt them manually, right? So now I'm trying to start the Mongo. What? Okay, this was connected through URI. Clear the screen. Now I'm trying to start to Mongo. It won't start. Why? We can read. Why we can read? Why is the question? But why answer we can get it from Mongo log. Okay. Uh, okay. Mongo WC-L 893 records we have. That's fine. Well, let's read it, not an issue. Or else I'll go like this. Instead of cat, uh, I'll read the tail. We know this tail command I discussed already. Tail, top, bottom 200 lines. Only 200 lines it will read. Anyway, we are interested at the bottom of it. What? So making a collection system dot replica set as a collection version. White tiger error. What is as a error? It is looking for one file. The file, if you see what it is saying, open, no such file in the directory. It is missing, which means no such file. It is looking for this file, but it is not there. It is saying that. And it is failing on one more collection also because I intentionally deleted two files to corrupt it. So it won't come online then. So how do I sync it again now? I wanted to sync this. This replica is gone because it is corrupted. Or this replica is gone because it is outdated. Okay. It is very simple to resync in the replica set. Dead simple. It's such an amazing technology. So what you have to do, you are in where right now? Home, CD. You just have to, nothing you have to do. This is what, corrupted. Some file corrupt collection is corrupted. That is the reason Mongo is not starting anymore. And the primary is doing well and secondary is also doing well, and one secondary went down because it is not starting at all. There is some activities done, and after that it is not coming online. Then how do I resync it? Just remove everything what you have here. Don't keep it anything. If you keep it, it will try to read that, it will look for that missing data. You delete everything from this directory. Clean up everything on the directory, everything, absolutely clean up the data directory. Nothing. You just, delete every single content what you have here in the data directory of secondary, which is gone out of sync. Delete everything, clean up, wipe out completely. Now if you see, I'm into data directory of this server, and if I see lsfnl, there is nothing left. I removed with this command. So asterisk means everything. Forcibly remove everything from this directory in the current. So now what I'll do, I'll start the Mongo now. If I start the Mongo, what it does, it gets all the data automatically from the primary. That's the beauty of the resyncing of replica. It started, if you see, all were there before, now all got from the primary. Everything resynced from the scratch. Resyncing is dead simple in Mongo. You just, whatever it gone out of sync, go to data directory, wipe out all everything from that directory and start. It sync right from the scratch, from the beginning. This would take time, definitely would take time, and you wanted to look at that how long it is going to take time. Print secondary replication info. This will tell you how long behind the primary it is going to take. This will tell you, like, 20 hours, 18 hours. If it is TBs of data is there, you are resyncing it, it will tell you this is the time it is going to sync. It is syncing. The sync time will come down as it is syncing. So now it got completely all the data back again from the scratch. So that's what I clearly written here. Resyncing the outdated replica or corrupted replica, whatever it is.
So resyncing times, can we come to know the resyncing time ahead of time?
Yeah, this is where you get to know this. You have to run this command, print secondary replication info or print slave replication info. Will tell you that the second is behind the primary these many hours. It is going to sync. It will tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
It is small data, that is why it is went to zero quickly. But if it's a bigger data, TBs of data, it will tell you how long it is going to take to pick
So
up all the data from there.
so you get info from here, and then you can update to business owner that this long time is going to take about.
Exactly. Yeah, that's correct. What is it? That's correct. This is where you monitor it. How second is syncing, how long it is going to take as well. So simple, no pain at all. Just remove, start. It will sync all the data. This is only solution if it goes outdated. There is no other way of doing it.
And
So verify.
how often does it get outdated?
I've seen many a times, because like oblong window is not properly designed in production. In production, secondaries goes out of sync. Some secondaries are down, we don't know, and we came to lately then know that. See, Mongo will start functioning it if you have two nodes, three nodes. You kept it, two nodes are absolutely fine. One Mongo went down, you don't know it, you're not monitoring for some reason. Then when you start it does not come into picture, then it will start firing the alert, because then you get to know that okay, one Mongo is joined, but it's not syncing. When it is not syncing, what you have to do, go to that Mongo and delete all the files from the data directory and start. It will pick up the data from scratch. I've done many a times, in fact, resyncing because it went out of sync. Corruption only I have seen only once in my career. Collection data was not picking, it is corrupted on the sectors, and then we resynced it. Corruption you might see, you may not see, but resync we will do, because our replica outdate many a times it happens, many a times. Usual case it is in Mongo. If you don't have a proper monitoring system, yes, it happens. Because we have 70 replica production sets, 70 replica sets under production. We have a huge environment. We see a lot of issues all out of this notepad only. If you know these notepad issues, you know how to manage it. As simple as this. Right. Understood resyncing, everyone? There
Yes.
are two situations, outdated replica or corrupted replica. Case we'll go for the resyncing. Verify the MongoD whether the replica is out of sync, or there corruption or not. Stop the secondary. How do you verify? Let me keep it. Command to verify. Outdated. One replica. Outdated. Outdated or not. Is rs dot print secondary replication. Right? Is it clear? Uh, okay, guys. This is all about it. So stop the secondary, delete all, like for all the all the files from data directories from secondary replica data. Okay, files from data directory. So this one required. This is enough. The statement is enough. Delete all files from the data directory from secondary. Start the secondary replica, which will sync all data from scratch from the primary automatically. Is this enough? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right, good enough. Data center migration. Let's talk about data center migration right now. See, this is something we did for one of the reason. One of our storage license actually, ended up, and then we had to migrate everything, not only Mongo, SQL, Mongo, Oracle, all products. We migrated storage because the lease was over. When they're renewing it, they're charging more. They got another good partner where they're giving the cheap storage for our servers. Then we did the storage migration. So let me explain that how we did it on the fly. It is so simple. I'll tell you. Mongo is very simple in terms of administration. If you know it, so it takes time to understand, but I'm giving all the ready-made. So if you follow this, it is going to help you a lot. See, situation. I'll explain the situation first, then show you practically. I'll come back to this at the end. I'll explain the diagram. I'll show you practically. Then I'll talk about this. Then you understand. So now understand the situation when this can happen. This is one data center. This is another data center because you are migrating it. You have three replica sets. Okay. Here one replica you add first, only one. Basically, that's how it is. So now, what do? You join this into the replication. One replica set. We have cars, right? we'll also add the same config file and start the Mongo. It will join and sync the data from here automatically. When you join a new replica, just an empty replica, just normal Mongo will run. When you dot rs.add, it will sync the data from the scratch to that new replica automatically. When the sync is completed, when you see, we have seen this, we deleted and started the Mongo, it synced up all the data. The same way it will sync. When you join, all the data will sync. When it is synced completely, this will give you the information. Which one? Print slave replication info. This will give the information. Okay, the new one, whichever is joined, is behind 0 seconds behind the primary, which means it is synced with all the data. Then we do this. What you Google, if you go to Google, there are a lot of complex steps, very deadly simple steps. I'll tell you, just try to follow. rs.conf, what it does, it will get the entire Mongo, like a config file. This is a Mongo config file actually. Mongo replica config file, not Mongo, I mean. Replica config file rs.conf. You read this one, you'll get the information like this. Okay. Now you get this output into Notepad. Anybody can do it. Any issue, anything you wanted to change in the replication, you do this follow. You follow this. It's so simple. Come on. Wait. I hit the wrong button. Anyway, rs.conf. You have to do it from the primary only, this thing. Just highlight it. Don't control C. It happens sometimes. Your session will be log out. Control C means. And copied. Highlighting means copied. So now take into Notepad and paste it. Whatever you wanted to change it in the config file. This is a config file. You have 3 members here, and keep everything as it is. Don't change, touch other one. So priority. What is our primary right now? What is our primary? Linux 01. So I don't want Linux 01 to be primary right now. This is Linux 01. I'll give a 0.05 as a priority, lower value. And I wanted this also to be lower value, print replication. And here I'm going to keep it 1, priority 1. So these are running with the lower priority. This is running with the higher priority. When I reconfig this, automatically this will become primary gracefully. It will verify, okay, I am holding the current primary. I got the lower priority with a new configuration. I'm going to give you the primary role. Please verify my data. You have all my data? Yes, I have it. Then take my role. That way it will do the smooth handoff, absolutely smooth handoff. When I do this, see, so simple it is. That simple situation doing the data center migration. You are running the Mongo already. You have the replica sets rs.conf. You can see all the members here. You see the members here, members 1, 2, and 3. There is something called rs.status that I'll talk about quickly. No need to worry. This will give you the which one is primary, which one is secondary, and all that. rs.status, very important command. I'll pick up next after this. So you see this primary, and you see this is a secondary, and you see this is secondary again. It is telling you the roles and when it got synced, the time when each one got synced. 247, 247, all are synced at the same. The timer is same means it is absolutely in sync. This timer will see it. I'll tell you. I'll tell you on this one. No, it will. First, let's do this. Data center migration. So I'm changing the priorities to the replica. My intention is let me go with the 3 replica only. 2 replicas in the primary data center, 2 nodes in the primary, one is in remote in our case, because we have only 3 in our case. So this was Linux 01, 2 and 3. So this is running the primary, but now I wanted to move out of this data center, move to this one. So I added one replica. It synced up all the data. Then I'm making the priority 0.5 here, and here also 0.5, intentionally here 1. So this got the more priority. The more priority should become a primary. That is a rule. So now what it says, okay, I got the new config. It is saying that you have the more priority. I need to hand off the role to you. Do you have all my data? It will acknowledge, okay, I got all your data. Now give me the role. So now let me do this. Pick up this output. Okay, we change the priorities 0.5, 0.5. and this is a Linux 03. I want it to be primary. Linux 0. This one I want it to be primary. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll come to the primary. I'll pick up this output, copy everything, and load into one variable. Variable maybe anything. X equal to, you keep it x equal to shift insert. X equal to shift insert. Now all of this content is loaded. If I keep it x, I'll get the output. X is loaded with all the data. When I typing x, this is there. The x is having the new data, 0 0.5, 0 0.5, and 1. This new data is loaded into this variable. I'm just typing x, that's it. See, click CLS. Okay, there is nothing. I'm keeping it x and enter. It has the data. What data? The modified data assigned to this variable. That's it, because I gave it x equal to the new value I inserted. Then it is assigned to this variable. Then I'll go with rs.reconfig. There is a command, and then give that x inside in it. When you do the reconfig from the primary, the data from this variable will be loaded into replica. It is applied, new configuration is applied. This is dead simple. If you go to Google, they'll tell you a lot of different steps, but the dead simple thing. rs.conf, if you see rs.conf, see 0.5 font, it is reflected to the live. So if you click on this, it will become secondary. See, this will become the primary automatically. See, it got the primary role. So now data center migration primary role is given to here. I'll keep these nodes in the loop in as a secondary. I'll add one more secondary node from the local data center, one more secondary. If both are synced up, then I'll start removing one by one. So then the data got migrated smoothly without any downtime here. See, when the primary got role here, I'll add two more replicas, 5 node replica right now. It will sync all the one. If these two also synced up properly with this local primary, then I'll take out these nodes. How do I remove if I don't want one replica? Right now you see rs.conf. I don't want one member. So I don't want 3 is our primary, right? I don't want one anymore. So I wanted to remove it. So right now one, if you see secondary, it is there in the replica set. I wanted to remove it. rs dot. It is so simple. When you want it to remove, we have that also command. I'll explain it anyway. Removing is that simple. Sorry. Okay. Linux 01. Mention the port if you mention. So I want to take out the Linux 01 out of the replication. That's it. It is gone. It will become other. Automatically it will become other. It is not anymore into the replication. See, it's not in the replication. And if you see rs.conf, only 2 members. One member is gone. rs.slave replication info, what it goes, rs print slave replication info, it will give only one node as secondary. Slave. Okay. Why it won't come sometimes? rs print secondary replication info. The heck, it should resolve actually. Right.
Is it print replication second?
Print replication info or print slave replication info, print to secondary replication info. There are two commands. See, it is giving only one secondary. One is gone. So once you do this and then shut it off, you don't need the server anymore here because the server already migrated to new data center. Migration is such an easy task for the MongoDB. It's that simple. Only for the application people, they had to map all the new servers and all that. For them, it is a headache. Our job is so simple. You just go to the config, okay? Just pick up the config in the notepad, change the values, lower value to the current data center, higher value to the remote region server, one server only first. Once the role is taken, to the remote region primary, then add the secondaries because the local data will sync fast. If you add more secondaries when you are running from the remote region, it will take more time. Don't wait for that. Only one replica should sync completely, then change the priorities like this. It will take the primary role on a soft handoff. Soft handoff will happen with all the data. Then you add the secondaries. Locally will sync fast. When these are in, see, before these added, we don't delete this. because you had to careful. Why? Because this is down your, if this is down, you are out of data. So two more copies should be synced, then you remove these two and then remove and shut it off, or whatever you do once it is removed. Is it clear? This is called data center migration of Mongo. So simple. That simple. I enjoyed it a lot when we were doing this. I used to do only one or two servers, and rest of the day I don't have any work because I involved into that project. Following or not following? Say something. Guys, you guys are
Yes,
so
sir.
silent. If you,
Yes, yes.
it's so simple, and just see, when we had to do the data center migration, we had to give more priority to target data center data node in the output rs.conf. We take the output rs.conf and reconfig with the new values that will do the automatic failover to the remote data center node. Once completely synced up, then we will add the two more local replica nodes to the existing replication from the remote data center. Once local nodes are synced up, then we will remove the old data center replica data nodes from the replication group. This is exactly how to do. So I don't want to paste this big output, just simple. I have mentioned what you have to do here. rs.conf, take into notepad and change the variables and reconfig that, supply that variable, in our case reconfig x. Is it clear? Watch the video, get it anyway. This does not make sense if you don't understand the practical part. Is it clear? I'll cover one
Yes,
more
Sir,
yes.
scenario and I'll close it off. One more scenario. Tomorrow I'll finish it off, this replication. Okay. One more scenario. So we have seen data center migration. We have seen, we are going to see the delayed replica. Let's talk about a priority zero replica. Delayed is tomorrow. Priority zero replica will not become a primary at any point of time. Let's do that. Now, I wanted to add this node back again into the loop. So how do I do it? It's so simple. rs.add the one which is went out of the replica set. I wanted to add it back. rs.add. So easy. Linux 01270117. That's it. It got added. You'll get the role. It takes some time to get the role. You see that anyway. When it is added, rs.print secondary application info. It started. It behind the primary means it is joined already. What the heck? It's not detecting. Why it is not detecting? It should detect. Okay, now it is detected. Log off and log in. It is not giving it. So rs.secondary. Okay. Show DBs. You'll have everything anyway. Right? You have everything. Right. So this is what it is. So let's talk about last scenario. We have 3-4 minutes. That's enough for this. What is this? Prevent a secondary from becoming primary using priority zero. So one secondary you never want to become a primary because situation is a different case. Let's talk about different case now. This is a local two copies, the remote copy as a DR. It's not the data center migration. Don't talk about that again. This is a different scenario. This is a different scenario altogether. You're running two Mongos locally, one Mongo and the remote as a DR purpose. So if failure happens between these two only happen, this should not pick up the role at any point of time. So here I'll give it a priority 1 and priority 1 to this 0. How will I do it? So again, I'll go with the primary, where we are the primary. Here is the primary, rs.conf. Anything that you wanted to change, pick out the output and load into notepad and change it and apply. That is a deadly easy step. If you go to the Google, they say a lot of things. You'll definitely confuse. And I'm saying the easiest, best method to not to confuse. I'll come back here. See here, we are talking about priority 0, 0, and here 1, 1. We are adding, this got added back. That is why it took 1. The new node, Linux 0, 1 got 1. Why? Because it just added. Anyway, this is the one it should not become a primary at all. I don't want. Okay. So this is a priority 0, 1, 1. So whenever failure happens, only these two will take the role. This never take the role anymore. So we changed what we wanted. Priority 0. That is what the situation here, scenario. Priority 0. So now I got the modified config file. Okay, I'll copy and I'll apply this to one of the variable x, y, whatever it is. Just assign to one variable. Okay. Now, if you wanted to clear it out CLS, just I'm hitting Y, I'm getting the output. What is the output? It is saying priority 0 for this one, priority 1, 1, and then that is clear, that is correct. You verify it and then rs dot reconfig and supply that variable Y. That's it, it is done. So now, if you see rs dot conf again, you will see the new values. This is 0, 1, 1. Now, if I do the step down, this only will become the primary. How many times you do it? Step down, never become the primary. This one, it never become the primary. It's just secondary all the time. There is no role handoff to this one as long as the priority is not changed. Okay. Again, I'm doing the rs dot step down. Okay. So again, this will become the primary. Absolutely, this will become the primary. There is no other way. It takes 10 seconds to take the new role generally. What happened? This is given the role. This should become primary anyway. It's too long. Why it is taking this long? The heck is going on? This will tell us which is holding the primary. Secondary. Okay. Members. This is secondary member. This is secondary member. What happened to this? To secondary. What? No. Did we do anything wrong? Why it is not picked up the primary role? Priority 1, priority 1. Voting 1, voting 1. Heck, huh? This is not good. It should have been primary. It took time anyway. It should not take this long. Hardly 10 seconds to become the primary. It took quite a long. But anyway, it should become primary. It is become the primary. It never become the primary as long as it primary is set to the 1. So see guys, rs.conf, pick up the output and paste into notepad, change the priority 0 for the one node and like one of the node and allot that output to variable and then do the below command rs.reconfig, and wherever you made to 0 that will be applied, that node never become a primary anymore. When do we use this concept? When we have this configuration, when two nodes are local, one is remote, then you go with the remote region, always priority 0. Is it clear? I'll pick up from
Ravi, so we gave 0.5 and here we are giving 1 as a priority. So is there any difference or it's okay, we can give any value?
0 means it never become primary. 0.25 actually whatever is having the lower values. If see, let me explain this. The other case around the previous case. If you see 0.5, 0.5, this goes down. These both will get the equal priority. This can become primary. This can either of the one. If it is 0, both cannot become a primary. Only one primary all the time. Primary there is no primary role handoff if it is 0. If it is having 0.1 also, at the end, if it is the last one to become primary, it will become primary at least. The value, at least some value. 0 means whatsoever the situation that cannot become a primary. Is it clear?
Yeah, yeah.
So value will make the primary at certain situations. 0 never make a primary. It never take the primary role. It is not at all eligible. That is what the value means. So we did intentionally lower values. This is a higher value. Why? Because this primary is holding the role. So we set this primary. So this also should not become primary. That is why both of them I kept lower values, this higher value, so that it absolutely fail over to this one remote region. If it fail over gracefully, then we will add 2 more nodes. This is a data center concept, data center migration only that will apply. If it is something 2 nodes locally, 1 node remote, this always 0. So it never become primary at any point of time. It both will go down. This will become secondary only. But one of the node is done. Primary role always sit in the primary data center. Never hand off to the secondary data center. If it is 0. Clear, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we are done up to this point. Which point? This point. Okay. I'll keep a note here. Just tomorrow we'll start with the delayed replica. Tomorrow I'll finish quickly. I mean, we are done now. The most of the things what we need to know. Still, there are situations. I'll explain. If you know all of these things, you are expert. Stopping the recording.